Doors closed.
Good evening, guys. Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy here, and welcome to another episode of In the Hot Seat with the Usual Suspects. As per usual, I am joined by the guy with the fattest stack of comics in the business, Rob. How are you tonight, sir?
Well, you know, I'm just duck goey.
And the guy with the nicest slab sales on Instagram, Nick's Kix and Comix. How are you, Nick?
I'd be better if you bought something, Gary.
Oh! Stop posting Carnage and Venom. Maybe I will. And of course, our guest of honor this evening, we are very excited and very happy to have on SimpleSimon from the New Noob on Instagram and the SimpleSimon YouTube channel. How are you over there? It's today, isn't it, sir?
It is tomorrow for you guys.
Yes.
So and it is a scorching hot 30-degree day here, which I already worked out for you guys. It's 86 degrees Fahrenheit for you guys.
But in
well,
your defense,
I'm 11 degrees here, 1 degree Fahrenheit.
Oh, Jesus.
Wait, so he's coming to us from the future?
That's right.
He's celebrating DJ's birthday already.
Suck it, Kyle.
And, we'll say a quick hi to the chat. So
It's
right
15
now we got
over here. So
Welsh Dragon Funko Hunter, thumbs up and shared. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Shop for Comics, another great channel out there. The one and only Bearded Avenger, Ruby G. Chop and Drop, how are you, sir? And Jerry the Jitterbug, we're doing great, sir. And yourself? Cats of Sorrow, kind of thought she'd show up. How are you, Sarah? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Mad Spidey. How are
Sparty.
you, sir?
Hey, Sparty. How you doing, Sparty?
And we got Low Budget Comics. How you doing, again? Appreciate you coming in, sir. As soon as I went to click on something, a notification popped up and took me away. John Norris, how are you, bud? All right, so Simon, as we like to do with all these episodes, the very first thing we're going to do for anyone that's catching this on the rewind or anyone that's new to you, we're going to have you introduce yourself and just give a quick overview of your channel, sir.
Introduce myself. Okay, so
Yeah.
I am SimpleSimon, and my channel, I guess, focuses mostly on comic books. But I do all kinds of things. I never want to limit it to just comic books. But I guess the whole idea when I first started the channel was me being a noob to all of this sort of stuff. So I've only been into comics for a few years, as well as all the nerdy sort of stuff. So but I do all kinds of things, vlogs. I do a video series at the comic shop with my mate Mark. And yeah, it's a good time all around.
I miss you.
Now-
I miss you. I don't recognize you without your glasses, though.
I know.
Yeah.
I love the glasses, actually.
Only when I get silly. It's like in that movie Over the Top with Stallone.
Yeah.
How he talks about when he flicks his hat backwards and then it's like a switch. That's what the glasses are like for me. So I just want to relax with you guys today. So
Uh-oh, you're being called out here, Nick.
Sparty, I'm on my way, Sparty.
Oh, God.
Getting better and better every day.
So let's talk about that. You've only been in comics for a few years. So what was your introduction to comics and what got you into them?
So I was into comics when I was a kid. And then I guess it just kind of phased out, I guess. And I also kind of remember the day that my mum asked me if she could give all my comics to her friend's son. And at the time, there was a part of me that didn't want to do it because I'm a bit of a hoarder. So I was like, I don't want to say yes, but at the same time, I was like, I'm not doing anything with them. So yeah, go for it. Just give them away. So I guess I wasn't really into comics throughout most of my later teen years because I was into partying and stuff. And then going back maybe a bit over 3 years ago now, my parents sold their house and they found a small stash of comic books. And they asked me, hey, do you want to come over and get any of this stuff before we throw it out? So I grabbed this small stash of comic books. And one of the things in there that I had since I was a kid was the Death in the Family trade paperback. So I had that for a long time. And I remember reading it as a kid, but I thought there was one week I was really sick. I took the whole week off work, and I just picked that up and said, you know what, I'm going to read this. And I did, and that's kind of where it started.
So
what
rekindled.
characters draw you
love.
in?
Sorry?
Sorry, Rob.
Oh, so it rekindled your love for comics.
Yeah, oh, you know what? The story was fascinating because I guess not knowing a lot about comic books as I got older, you know how comics have that stigma of comic books are for kids.
Sure.
I read that story and I was like, this is definitely not for kids. So
Beaten about the head with a crowbar.
there was also, this is also like, I guess famous story I've told a lot is I went on a bunch of dates with this girl and she was into comic books and I thought it was odd because she was like my age and I was like, really? You're into comic books? So I started getting fascinated with that sort of culture as well. So yeah, it's kind of a two-part story there.
I'm sure we've all found ourselves embracing or exploring the items of interest of our significant others at various points. I know if it wasn't for my wife, I never would have listened to Depeche Mode.
So you have a couple of different shows, like the new Rebirth. You do your hauls, you do your statue reviews. There's some of the cool statues you have are the Kotobukiya Bashujo ones, I guess they're called.
Yeah, the Kotobukiya Bashujo, yeah.
Yeah, because my LCS sells some of those, and those are exquisite. So not only did you get into comics, but as a side shoot, you ended up with getting into statues. Obviously, you're into pops. You got that behind you. So you didn't just get into it a little bit. You went falling into the hobby.
Yeah, I guess I've always been into collecting stuff and things. So going back though, maybe 4 years ago, I had hardly anything. So I bought stuff that I liked. Like back then, I grew up to a lot of music, so I have a lot of music collectibles. I got a lot of records. But as far as like once I got into comic books, obviously there is so much of this crap just everywhere. So yeah, definitely. I think I used to have a lot more money to spend back in the day, and now it's just gone. I don't have it anymore.
So what was the first impetus? Like you do pretty good cosplay too. Like what was the first? What made you foray into that?
So I went to my first con probably maybe 3.5 years ago or so. So it was funny. So that girl that sort of got me interested in it. We'd stopped talking, and I was like randomly just like, hey, I wonder if she wants to go to a con. And she said no. And she said, but you should go check it out. It'd be fun. I was like, all right. So I went to this con by myself and saw cosplayers for the first time. There was like 1,000 Harley Quinns everywhere. And I just thought it just looked fun, I guess. And then when I started doing my convention videos, I just started. Oh, I don't know, just cosplaying's fun, right? I mean, anyone who's done it before, you just know. When I go to the conventions, I do convention videos, and I interview a lot of the cosplayers, and I often ask them, what sort of advice do you have for someone who maybe is interested in cosplaying? And they all say the same thing. They're always like, it doesn't matter how good your outfit is or how bad it is. If you bought it, if you made it, as long as you're having fun, right? So.
Well, that's what it's all about, right?
Exactly. So I haven't done it for a while because put on a lot of weight since COVID. So I no longer look flattering in my Red Hood t-shirts. So, but it's always good fun.
It's why I don't wear the Spider-Man suit.
And what is it about Red Hood in total that does it for you? Because you gotta have a lot of Red Hood stuff. I've seen.
Yeah, I don't know, man. To be honest, people ask me that, and I don't really know why I chose him. Well, for starters, that story that I read was obviously Death in the Family that got me into comic books, and that's obviously about the death of Jason Todd. I think it's pretty interesting for them to do the whole phone pole thing to kill someone off, and then to bring him back all that time later to become a character that's so beloved. But I got a feeling it's probably just when I first saw Red Hood. I think visually he's a very cool looking character, and also not long after I was sort of reading Red Hood, they kind of changed his character design. Everyone got really upset about it because it was so different, but I really liked it because I was new to comic books. So I was like, well, this can be like my version of Red Hood, which is why I cosplay that version of Red Hood. But yeah, I think really it was just the character design often really gets me. If a character looks cool, I want to know about that character.
Now, what about Ash in Pokemon? Because he's another character you do a lot, and you always have him and Red Hood in your videos. So
yeah, that was.
Who is this?
tell me
Ash
how
you're
that
talking
came about.
Everyone thinks I'm into Pokemon, but I'm not into Pokemon at all. So a lot, not at all, but a long time. Like in my early stages of my channel, I did a video called "Learning About," where I learned about Pokemon characters, and it just kind of became an ongoing theme because one of my friends from work, he was 8 then, I think he's 10 now. His kid watches my videos, and he used to love all the Pokemon stuff. So I just kept going with it, and then I did a series where I cosplayed as all these characters and played all the characters where it was Red Hood and Ash. I had like a Spider-Punk in there, and it was just silly fun. I got to go back to doing that because I really enjoyed making those videos, like being able to use the green screen and all that stuff. I've just gotten lazy.
Oh, they're super fun. Like, you're great when you're doing the Ash. It's hilarious.
Yeah. So, yeah, I pretty much do it for my friend's kid because he still watches my channel, and sometimes I feel like he shouldn't be watching my channel. You know, some of the things
do you ever put the chainsaw in your hand?
The chainsaw.
Wrong Ash? Okay, never mind.
Yeah, no. He's thinking of Ash versus the Evil Dead.
I got it.
You can mix it up. I always love the cross.
Yeah, the cosplays.
Yeah.
If you saw Rob's last Slab Hub, you know he knows nothing about Pokemon. So that whole conversation was already past him.
Yeah. That's a good idea, though, to kind of mix that. Maybe I'll use that in the when I finally make the final episode.
The other one that we've seen somebody for the female is dress up as Wednesday Addams with the chainsaw. So you're Ash Wednesday.
Oh, that's really cool. That was big Evil Dead thing. So you got back into comics. What made you start your YouTube channel?
Well, the YouTube channel was something I always kind of thought about doing. A lot of my friends used to tell me that I should do a YouTube channel, and I always said to them, why? And they're like, you'd be good at it. I'm like, yeah, but what would I talk about? And then I'd always have people suggesting things. My friend would be like, because I didn't really watch YouTube. Like, I watched YouTube, but I didn't watch YouTubers, you know. I'd watch music videos and things like that. And my friend was like, oh, why don't you do unboxing videos? I'm like, why would anyone want to watch me unbox something, right? So you have all these ideas. And then one day I thought to myself, and again, this was kind of to impress a girl, but I thought to myself, you know what? Why don't I make a channel about comic books since I got into comic books and make it from like a noob's perspective kind of thing. So that's how it kind of all started. And then everything just kind of snowballed and it's become what it has become.
So it's going on what, 2 years now? Over 2 years you've been on it?
So I'm actually only 10 days away from my 3-year anniversary.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been and you know what? It'd be nothing without, like, I think I spent probably the first 8 to 9 months just on my own, and then I found the comic book community through Rod the Rican. He did a shout out, and then I kind of discovered people like Life with Two YouTubers who's in the chat. She found my channel and she started watching all my videos, DMing everyone saying, you have to subscribe to this guy. He's so funny. And then I gained a little, I kind of got into this little circle of community members, and it kind of went from there. But I do realize that I'd kind of be nowhere without this community.
I do want to mention what Brian's bringing up here, because you're at 932 subs right now, and you are definitely on your road to 1K. So congratulations on that. It shouldn't be long.
Yeah, it's been a long road to 1K, but yeah, it's gonna happen. I was saying, so my mate Super Russ, who's also in the chat, he had like this goal like a little while back where he was like, I would like to make it to 1K by this date. And at the time, even I was like, that's a stretch, Russ. You're dreaming big there. And he did it. Like, there was this one day where I think he got a shout out from someone, and he made it to 1K in the time. And I was like, that's awesome. Like, he made his dream happen. So I was like, you know what, it'd be cool if I could make it. And I don't like saying things like that because I don't like to put expectations on myself. I'd rather, have no expectations so I don't get disappointed when I don't make it. So I said it, and then I was like, damn, I shouldn't have said that I want to get there by my 3-year anniversary. But it's 10 days away. I need about 70 subs. But it's not going to upset me that I don't make it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your personalized invitation to take this moment, pause the video, go ahead and go on over there. We'll wait. It's okay.
I'm pretty sure everyone here is sub to me.
It's all right. They can use their other account. They
use their other account.
Why do you only have one account subscribed to this man? Come on. Both personalities, or all three personalities should be subscribed.
Thank you, John Norris. Thank you very much.
You see?
And his link is in the description for anyone that's watching on the rewind.
There you are.
70 subs in 10 days. There you go, John Norris.
You can do it. We super believe in you.
Yeah, I mean, if we got Austin LeMay 100 plus in one night.
Yeah, I saw that. I wasn't even on the stream. I just saw it. I think I saw something on Instagram, so I just jumped on and subbed without even watching the stream.
And yet you've managed to keep up with all his videos.
That's right.
So, and I want to ask you too, because one of my favorite segments that you do, and I haven't seen you guys do one in a while. I love Two Aussies Zero Shit. Because almost every time I agree 100% with what you guys are talking about. Is there going to be any more of that coming?
That's a secret. There might be something brewing in the back. I think Lee's very busy at the moment. I actually haven't spoken to Lee much for a while, and I noticed the Whack Boys haven't been doing much. I think Lee's pretty busy at the moment, but yeah, we've been in talks. So, I'm just going to leave it at that.
All right,
it's fun.
That segment is incredible.
It's fun being able to do that because I guess when I first started my channel, I never wanted to hold back on anything. I really just wanted to, once I got comfortable anyway, I wanted to just be myself. So I used to swear a lot more on my channel. And then I kind of got to a point, I kind of thought about it a lot more. I got my little friend Blake, who's 10 years old, who watches my stuff. I don't want to swear all the time. So I try to keep it a bit, less now. But being able to go on Whack is just like, I can do whatever I want. So
no, except for the Lickworthy covers, right?
Yeah, so I probably shouldn't. Actually, I won't show it. But so my
no, go ahead.
No, because my camera, my new webcam, I can't pick up like pictures on my phone clearly anymore. But my friend was in the comic shop with Blake, who's my little buddy who watches my videos, and Blake walked past the shelf and said, "Hey, Dad, this is the comic book that Simon licks." So my friend of Blake licking a Vampirella book. And yeah, Blake is 10, so I'm a great.
Yeah. You gotta have that talk with him, Simon.
Yeah. He's the future. He's like the key to getting me, the next generation to follow Simple Simon.
There you go.
You're
You're saturated.
All his friends in high school. Hey, look, man, you want to see the hot covers? You go to Simon's channel.
Yeah. Never underestimate the preteen demographic.
Oh, man.
Now, where did the deep dive into Lickworthy covers start for you? Like, what was your first cover that you really noticed was like, oh, okay. And then you were down the rabbit hole.
I don't know. I don't even know when that happened. I definitely didn't start like that. I started buying books to read them, right? And I never used to cover buy. I used to consider a lot of times I'd see something I'm like, oh, I want to buy that, but I'm not going to buy it if I don't know the character or if I'm not going to read it. I mean, I don't know where it happened, but I started doing cover buys. And then sometimes I just like the character design. If a character looks cool. So for example, I really like the character Magic. I don't know squat about her, but I love a lot of the covers that she's on. But I have no idea how to lick.
You became an art aficionado. Very classy. Right. It's very bougie.
That's right. I love the art. But
so let me ask: is there a lick-worthy champion? Which cover is the lick-worthiest of them all? Or does it rotate?
Yeah, it's got to rotate. It's like eating the same food over and over. You want to mix it up. You want to get variety of foods. So.
Whatever it is, you guarantee it's a Dynamite cover.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, those.
Now, do you have a favorite lick-worthy artist?
At the moment, I'm really digging the Carla Cohen, Red Sonja covers. They're just killer.
The
It's
Celine
funny
covers are good too.
Sorry.
The Celine Red Sonja covers are really nice too.
Yes, and what's is that? I don't know. What's the first name of that artist? Do you know?
I don't know her first name.
The Celine variants for Barbarella have been great as well.
And Perillo.
Yeah, Perillo always.
The Perillo Sheena covers were fantastic so far.
Yeah, definitely. I'm always getting doubles of those.
And that great Sheena statue that Mad Spidey sent me.
Yep. So
that thing's amazing.
Yeah. So Sheena was a big thing when I was a child, when I was a kid. So I remember just I thought about it one day and I was like, I'm pretty sure Tanya Roberts as Sheena was my first ever like crush. Because the movie came out what 84, 85. Like I would have been like a little kid, and I remember seeing it. And then I rewatched it recently, and I was like, oh, no wonder she was my first crush, because it's like a PG rated film, and like you see everything.
She was in Beast
water scene.
Yeah, she was in Beastmaster before that, right? Though?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think most of us first discovered Tanya Roberts in Beastmaster.
Man, oof.
Yeah, I can't remember Beastmaster. I know the film, but I can't remember the actual what goes on in it. It's funny though how we were talking about the Carla Cohen Red Sonja covers, because you know Varangian, right?
Yeah,
big Red Sonja fan. He hates those covers. He hates them so much. I was watching one of his streams one day, and he was I was talking about, because I don't know if you've seen the one that's coming out. I think it's the next issue that's coming out. There's a Red Sonja cover where she's licking the blade.
Sword.
And I was like, that cover now represents my channel. And then Varangian just went on this big rant about why he hates Carla Cohen's Red Sonja covers. And it's fair enough. I understand from a passionate comic book person's point of view. I can understand why he hates it. But
I'm kind of on his side with that, because I'm an actual fan of the character, and I want to see her fighting and bloody on a cover and battling. And
I get it.
And she's not she's not like a pinup character, but Dynamite makes all their characters pinup characters.
Yeah, there's always like 60-something covers a week.
Yeah, Dynamite definitely kills it on the variant covers.
Yeah, it's a problem for me.
Go ahead, Rob.
Oh, I was just blocking. Your bot.
So Tom Taylor and you. Oh, I'm sorry, Rob.
No. Go ahead. You're on comics. I eventually want to ask Simon about his music.
Go ahead. Ask that, and then I'll get to my question.
Tell us a little bit about your music.
So I used to play in a band called The Worst. We were a punk rock band. Sorry?
They were the best?
No, we're kind of the opposite. Again, you set low.
So no false advertising. It was just...
No, it wasn't just a clever name. So yeah, we were a band for like from 2001 all the way through to 2017, I think. So from the time when I was pretty young, and that was kind of my life for most of my adulthood. It's funny to look
at clubs and whatnot.
Sorry,
doing the local club circuit and whatnot.
Yeah, just playing gigs. We toured, I guess, Australia a little bit. Never overseas, which would have been a dream, but we supported a lot of bands that I guess we grew up kind of idolizing. And it's a very underground sort of scene. So we're kind of from that sort of street punk sort of scene. So I don't know if you guys know bands like The Exploited, Anti-Nowhere League, and like the biggest one was The Casualties. And these are all like bands that most people aren't going to know of, but The Casualties were like the band that we wanted to be when we started the band. We're like, that's who we want to be. And then to be able to support, these bands that you kind of grew up idolizing was a big deal. So I kind of, it's been a few years now, so I kind of look back on that now and think, oh man, it's really cool that we did that.
Right.
But I barely listen to music anymore, which is the funny thing. I'm just full engrossed into all the nerdy stuff. So
no, I get it. I mean, there's same things. I spent so much time in music side between radio and my time in the audio industry and stuff, I don't listen to hardly anything anymore. I go in the car, I listen to the news. But
Yeah, I prefer to
that,
listen
and
to
I'm probably old.
Yeah. So I pretty much listen to podcasts in the car, and if I listen to music, it's just like the stuff that I used to listen to, like, you know. But I don't really listen to any new music.
So what's weird is I was fortunate enough to see some of that. You shared some of that music time with me, and I always wondered, do you miss like the juice of being on stage or performing in front of people? Do you get any of that from YouTube? Maybe
it's different. Definitely, it's cool to be able to have a crowd going crazy and seeing people in the audience, you know, mouth the lyrics to a song you wrote. That's definitely something else. So I've been trying to get a new band going for the last 3 years with a couple of people that I know. It's been hard with COVID and everything like that. And it's gotten to the point where I sit, because one of the drummer in the band, he's like he's all in. He's just like, I just want to do this. Like, he's a big into his music. And I said to him, look, if you want to do this, you're going to have to push for it, because I am reached a point now where I don't care if I do or don't anymore. I've kind of passed that point in my life. I'd be happy to play another gig. It'd be cool to get up on stage again. Again, I feel like, though, because again, I put on a lot of weight, guys. I feel like I look like Vince Neil, you know, when I last week.
Yeah, put on some leather jackets and play under the lights in the summer. You'll sweat it out.
No, but it would definitely be fun to do it at least once. But I said to him, I was like, it doesn't bother me if I do or if I don't anymore. Like, it'd be cool to get up there and play a gig or two again. But it's not like back when I was in the other band. I was like, this is it. I want to do this. Like, you know, I want to make it big enough in just our scene where we can then tour other countries. You know, like that was kind of the dream. And I was so confident that we were going to do it. And then I guess reality kicked in, and we all kind of grew apart anyway. So,
and can people get any of your music on any of the digital places, or was any of your stuff released that way, or is it just?
So I think the easiest way is probably we've got like a couple of things on Bandcamp. Otherwise, on YouTube, if you just type in "the worst Melbourne punk," you might find some videos. But yeah, I've been meaning to actually try to work out how to get our albums onto Spotify and all that sort of stuff. But apparently, it's not that hard. But I've just got to get off my ass and do it.
Someone's actually got to take the initiative, right? And that's the hardest part.
So, if anyone wants any CDs, I've got a lifetime's worth in that cupboard over there.
You pay shipping to the States, and he'll take care of it.
So yeah, I definitely got plenty of those to remember the band by.
So lots of coasters. Got it.
Yeah.
No,
but it was a cool thing. Like we did a lot of cool things, and like I've got a vinyl that we were on, which is like only 300 printed and things like that. So I guess
a lot of though.
Yeah, it was a good experience, a good life experience, and a lot of cool stories, I guess, through that.
Now, how did this whole interview thing come up with you and Tom Taylor? Because that stuff's hilarious.
Okay, so Tom Taylor. So I think it was my second ever convention. I went and I brought some comic books to get signed, because I was like, I collect comic books now. I want to get some signed. So Nick Spencer.
Was at Odd City, right?
Sorry?
Odd City Comic Convention?
No, so this was the Supernova one. So we have two big ones. We have Supernova and we have Oz Comic Con. So this was at Supernova. And yeah, I brought some comics. So I was like, I'm going to get some comics signed. This is going to be cool. Because Nick Spencer was there. And I was like, Nick Spencer. He writes the Spider-Man I'm currently reading. How cool. So I get there and Nick Spencer's at the table and just no one's there. I just walk straight up to the guy and I said, hey man, can you sign my book? He's like, yeah, cool. He signs the book. And I'm looking at the table next to him and there's this guy with a line, right? It's just like, I don't know, it's not a massive line, but there's a solid 20 people in this guy's line, like lining up to get his autograph. And I'm just looking at this guy like, who's that guy, right? Turns out it was Tom Taylor. So I get home and I saw a couple of people post, I got this signed by Tom Taylor. I got this signed by Tom Taylor. I was like, I've got that book. Okay, cool. So Tom Taylor's a person. He's pretty well known. So the next convention was a Comic-Con again. And I went to that and I got him to sign a few books. asked a few stupid questions because I don't know, his voice is a bit odd. He doesn't have a really bogan Aussie accent. So I kind of thought he was American. So I was like, so when you're heading back? And he's like, I live here, dude. I was like, oh, okay. Cool. It's so embarrassing, man. And then so he signed my books. I was like, all good. And then 4 days later, I'm at work and he walks into my work. And this time, I've only seen the guy twice in my life. So I was like, is that Tom Taylor? And I'm literally just staring at him like this. And he looks at me and he's like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, man. Can I help you out? So he's like, oh, I want to look at some iPads. So the iPad he wanted to look at, we didn't have on display. So I was like, oh, sorry, dude. We don't have them on display for you to look at. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. I'll just go to one of your other stores and have a look. So he goes to walk off, and I'm like, how about can I answer any questions for you? You know, do you need to know anything about it? Like, what are you using for? What do you do? And he goes, I write comic books. And I was like, yeah, you do. You signed my books 4 years ago. So I had this full like fanboy moment. I ended up giving me we're not supposed to discount iPads, but I discounted the iPad for him. Gave him a good deal. And then I'm very fortunate at work. I've got a group of friends who are all into comic books. So I've got like 4 or 5 of us that are all into comic books. And I was like, went up to one of them, I was like, hey, Tom Taylor's here. I'm serving him. And he's like, get a selfie with him. I'm like, I am not asking him for a selfie. He's like, just do it. I was like, no. So I go up. I'm like, cool, man, let's go. I give him the docket. Just take this up to the counter. And then just spur of the moment, I was like, hey, man, can I be that guy? Can we take a selfie, dude? And he's cool. He's like, yeah, man, let's do it. So we took a selfie. And then he was on his way. And then every time I saw him at a con after that, he'd see me and I'd be like, iPad guy. He was like, yeah, man, I remember. And then, yeah, a couple of cons ago, I think it was start of last year, because it was actually in 2020, I spoke to him a lot and I was making the video and I was too nervous to ask him, can I interview you? You know, I was just like, oh, my cameraman was like, just ask him, stop being a pussy. I was like, I don't want to ask him. And I was like, next time. So yeah, last year I went up, got some books on. We have a chat when we meet now. And I said to him, hey man, is it cool if I come back at the end of the day when it's quiet and I do like a really short interview with you? And he said, yeah, man, it's all good. So we did that. And then this time at Comic-Con just recently, I did it again. But what was cool at Comic-Con was he was doing a panel with Jamie Johnson, who's like an artist who's pretty well known for his Ninja Turtle art. So they did a panel together talking about being creators in comic books. And Tom Taylor's a pretty fun guy. He's saying, hey, everyone at the front, hey, everyone at the back, hey. And then he's saying to people who are just walking past in the aisles, like, hey, random people walking past. And he sees me and he goes, hey, you're not a random person. I was like, I've made it. We're truly best friends.
Awesome.
So,
but I mean, how can you forget? I mean, not only the iPad, but the red hair is pretty distinctive.
That's right. How could you forget? I've upgraded myself from iPad guy to crazy fanboy with the red hair.
Right. So, someday he'll know your name. No.
One day.
But the interactions, seems like he's got a great sense of humor when you guys are joking about the internet and stuff and how there's no negativity on there and everything's fine.
Yeah. He's definitely a fun dude to be with, to talk to. Sorry. And yeah, like, so at Comic-Con, he did say he's like super exhausted. He's like, I'm just putting on this right now. Like, I don't want to be doing this. So, no, he's a funny guy.
Someone will say, Catastrophe sounds pretty freaking kick-ass, dude.
Thanks, man. That was one of our later. That was kind of like the end. See, the song Catastrophe is about how I thought that the band was just gonna, go, like, I kind of was banking on us being a thing, and then it kind of coming to that reality of I don't think there's going to be a thing. So
you wrote Catastrophe?
Yeah, I wrote most of the lyrics. So it was interesting to see if you listen to like our whole discog. The early stuff is just about drinking beer and being punk. And then as we became more of a band over the years, it was more about just things that I wanted to write songs about. So
it's hard searching because you're not the only band called the worst.
But yeah, no, if you watch
yeah.
if you look up Melbourne Punk at the end, then it's just coming from our videos.
Oh, I was about to say the name of this song. I shouldn't. It's not not PC for America.
Yeah, I got stickers that say that if you want one, Rob, I'll send it you.
All right, yeah. Well, I mean, why not? I used to listen to all kinds of stuff. We used to listen to the Anal Kitties and other stuff, but yeah.
Now how did you and Mark from Big City Comics get together?
Sorry?
Oh, I said, how did you and Mark from Big City Comics get together?
So Mark, for those who don't know, is my LCS owner, and we are very good friends now. So the way it started was when I first started getting into comic books and collecting. My days off, I would look forward to it so much because I literally would wake up in the morning, I would Google comic book shop and just go to a comic book shop. And sometimes I go to multiple shops in a day, and I'd always buy something from every shop and come back with these little hauls. But I didn't know anything back then. So I was scared going into a comic shop still because I was scared people would talk to me and say, hey, like I'd buy a book and they'd be like, hey, what do you think of this and this and that? I'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. So yeah, I was very nervous still back then about going into comic shops, but I used to always do that. So it was so down here for some reason, on New Comic Book Day, the comic shops don't put the new releases out on the shelf until about 3:30, 4 p.m. It's not out in the morning. It's out right at the end of the day. And I always wondered why. And some people tell me, it's because it lines up with America or some bullshit like that. I'm like, that's a bit silly. So my days off were Wednesday, but you don't want to hang around in the city till 4 p.m. because it's going to take 2 hours to get home in peak hour traffic, right? So the first book I ever really got excited for was Batman Damned. And I didn't want to wait for it. So I woke up in the morning.
You couldn't wait for the Batwing.
Yeah, well, I didn't know the Batwing was there yet. I Googled comic shop like I did every week. I did the same thing, just Googled comic shop. And for some reason, it was the first time I noticed Big City Comics. I was like, why have they never shown it? And it was probably the closest shop to me. I was like, how come that has never shown up? I called up Mark. I called up the shop. Mark answered well before he opened. And a lot of shops here, they're pretty lazy. So Mark answered before he opened. And I was like, do you guys put your new releases out on the shelf when you open? And he goes, yeah, man, as soon as I open at 12 o'clock. I was like, perfect. Went down there, got my Batman Damned. It was the first time I bought both covers. It was the first time I was like, I'm so excited for this. I'm just going to buy both covers. And then I'm so glad I did because obviously the next day you guys get it. You make it viral around the world that you see Batman's penis in it. And then it got pulled off shelf and sold out everywhere, right? So that's how I met Mark through the Bat Dong. And then I started going there because I could get my new releases early. And Mark was really annoying because I didn't want to talk to people when I was in a comic shop, and he would keep, hey man, what do you do? What do you want to read? Do you need any help? I was like, just leave me alone. And then as time went on, obviously we became friends.
Helpful bastard.
He was always bugging me on the list. Always. It's you get standing order, man. I was like, no, I just want to do it the way I do it, all right? Leave me alone. And then he eventually found out I did YouTube, and he offered me, he goes, hey man, if you ever want to use the shop, by all means. And I was like, really? That's a massive opportunity to be able to do that. And I never took him up on it because I was scared to ask him. I was, hey, man, do you reckon I could actually do that? Because, this is still early days of me being friends with him. And then he had to sell the shop. So when he first sold the shop, he had nowhere to because he couldn't afford the rent anymore. It was really expensive where he was. So he basically moved all his stuff into a storage unit, and he had no shop. So he was like, I'm going to find another shop. But for now, you have to meet me at this storage unit. So literally, he had a bunch of loyal customers that would drive down to the storage unit. You give him a call. He comes out from the back gate in his car. He picks you up, drives you back into the storage unit, and then we just hang out in this garage, this storage garage, to get our books. But a lot of the times you go there, and there'd be 3 other nerds there, and you're like, oh, these guys are waiting for Mark too. And he'd pick us all up. and then we'd be standing there talking nerd stuff for like hours sometimes. So it was actually really fun to do that, and that's I think when we really became a lot closer. So when he finally got the shop, I was like, cool. Can I do videos here now? Which kind of sucks because the old shop looked better. The new store has that warehousey cement wall kind of looks very echoey. The old store looked white walls, was very nice in there. But yeah, I'm very fortunate that I found him because I know a lot of people would love to have that opportunity to be able to film in a shop and things like that. So yeah, I'm very lucky to have that.
And you guys got a good chemistry too. It's really fun to watch you guys interact.
Yeah, sorry.
Here you are years later, forced to talk to 3 more nerds.
Right?
Hey man, I love it.
You know, and it is cool to have that opportunity. I have something similar like that here, where I'm really became good friends with my LCS owner, and I did that. I found him I wasn't into comics again at the time. I was out of them, but I wanted to find something for my kid to read. I'm like, oh, a new comic shop. Oh, we'll pull in there. We'll get my kid something. We'll buy him a toy, whatever. And then it turned into going in once a month. And then all of a sudden, you meet the owner. He starts talking to you. I'm like, yeah, okay. And then the next thing is, hey, did you see that new trailer? Oh, what new trailer? You go, oh, come back here. Let's watch it. All of a sudden, you're watching movie trailers in the back in the office with the owner. Then you start talking about all the things you have in common. Next thing you know, you got a new friend. Then it's just
sometimes it's hard to get out of there sometimes because you're just talking about all this stuff.
I even go there now when I'm not buying stuff. We're just hanging out and all bullshitting about comics. Fun times, and it's good to have that. Because not every LCS owner is like that. Some of them, you walk into their shop and they treat you like you're there to destroy their books or try to cut their throat to buy something.
Yeah, so I do say, and it's not every shop, but majority of shops here, I feel like you go in there and everyone just minds their own business. Like the comic shop owner will talk to you about comics if you talk to them, but they rarely will approach you. You know what I mean? They just
kind of just watching to make sure you don't damage their books.
Yeah, they kind of just sit at the counter
and then frown at you, judge you based on the books you bring up.
If you start talking,
you're reading that mainstream stuff.
Yeah, but Mark's really good at especially noticing customers coming for the first time. He's always like, oh, he'll notice, I've never seen this guy, and he's always all over because he understands that customer service is key, right? So he always, and there's always going to be people like, no, I don't want any help, but he goes, cool, if you need anything, if you need any recommendations, let me know. But he'll always go back around afterwards and then just try to start a conversation with them again. Mark's really good. And if you come in with kids for the first time, he'll always ask, he's really good with kids. He's like, hey, you've been to a comic shop before? They're like, no, this is the first time. He's like, oh, you know what? I've got something for people who've never been to comic shops before. And he always has a little stash of comic books that are free that he'll give to kids who haven't never been in one. So yeah, he's really good. And I think that's why there's a lot of people who shop at Big City Comics who also shop at other shops, such as Mad Spidey, who shops at The Enemy, because they like Mark. They like Mark and they want to support him. So a lot of people, so it's funny, he's got one customer who's hilarious. He's just so funny. And Mark always refers to the guy's other shop as the other woman. And the guy's like, yeah, but I started shopping there first, so technically you're the other woman. So, yeah, but he's a great dude, and I'm very lucky.
See, and that's cool because that's how my LCS owner is, chat. Like kids come in, you usually send a kid out with a free comic book or a little toy or something. But, he doesn't worry about what they're doing in there. He treats them, and it's smart. They're the future of your business. And that's the whole reason he ended up being my LCS is I could go in there with my kid. My kid wasn't going to be hassled. I could be in there for an hour just looking at stuff. Wouldn't be bothered at all, and just go up there and make a purchase for my son, and everything was nice and cool. It didn't matter what we grabbed, what we looked at, no hassle. And I was like, wow, he's nice to my kid, and I ended up going back and we became friends, and the rest is history. It's been great ever since. Because there's a lot of comic shops I've left because of poor customer service or you walk in with their kid, and every 2 seconds, oh, what you guys need help? What are you doing? What are you looking at that? You need help with that? No, man, I'm an adult. I know how to look at shit. It's okay.
And now Rhino's Comics sells more Conan and Red Sonja than any other comic shop in America.
True story. Now, I want to ask you about your collectibles show and tell, where you invite guests on, and I was fortunate enough to be on with the great Metarog, Roger himself, and we're showing toys. And you're also a big toy guy now, but has a guest ever been on that they had a toy where you were just like, oh man, I'm jealous of that. I need to seek that out, and I need to go get that and add that to my PC? Because you get a lot of good stuff on there.
All the time. I like things though where obviously it's cooler to see, like obviously with toys, it's like, yeah, I often straight away afterwards be on eBay looking things up. But when people can bring stuff that you're not going to be able to get, it's crazy. So for example, when Nick was on, he brought his James O'Barr art commissions. And I'm just like, what the hell, man? Like that was, yeah. So when people can bring,
Be on camera,
people can bring stuff that no one's ever seen. That's what I really love when that happens. But it's seriously been the most fun doing that show because it started off with just me and Mark. So during COVID, I couldn't go into the shop and film. So I was like, hey man, since you're closed, why don't we do some live streams? So one day I thought, hey, why don't we do a collectible show and tell? We'll bring 5 things each. And I just thought afterwards, that's a good idea for a show. So we did another one where we invited Mad Spidey, one of my other mates, Think Geek Theory. And again, it was never meant to be an ongoing thing until one day I realized this might be the best thing I've ever thought of. So it's a good way. Like, I think it's really good, like you doing something like this where you're constantly bringing in new community members and introducing them to others. I always wanted to have some sort of show like that where I can get and meet new people. You know, because I think the first time hanging out with you, I think was probably on that.
It was on your show and tell when you invited me on.
So being able to, and again, it's nerve-wracking reaching out to some of these people because I'm scared they're going to say no. Like I was able to get Asian Funk on, and I used to really look up to that dude. And we always used to chat and be friendly with each other. But I really wanted to get him on my channel. So when I got him, I was like, oh, this is awesome. So yeah, being able to meet a lot of people for the first time doing a show like that is awesome.
Yeah, and what I really like about it is you see a lot of stuff that people hold dear, not necessarily comic book stuff or geek stuff, but the time I was on with you, Roscoe brought on this old radio that was just like awesome. A bubblegum machine. I was like, all right, man, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, the bubblegum machine. He's just like, this thing's heavy, and he's just like, it was like that was a really fun one. But yeah, and the whole point is I always wanted to make sure that people knew that, I didn't want it to be about comic books at all because, we can all. That's why I've written out this thing now. So every time I invite people, I send them this little list of, I guess I don't know what you call it, rules, right? So I'm like, this is how it works. This is what you're going to bring. And I was like, I prefer not to bring comics. You can bring comics, but if you do, don't bring key issues. Bring things that are rare that people wouldn't have seen, like a sketch cover or something that's super old that maybe no one has ever seen. I was like, if you bring Ultimate Fallout 4, you are banned from the show forever. You can turn on any channel and everyone's got all these books that you see all the time, and there's nothing wrong with that. I enjoy seeing those books, but I wanted to do something. I wanted to see the other stuff that people collect.
Or something unique.
I agree. Having rules for your show and what people bring on are very important things to do. Otherwise, it's chaos.
Actually, I got a bone to pick with you, Gary. You came on my show. I had you on. You're like, I really don't have much to show. I was like, see, this is like how I pick guests. Like, because I've got a whole bunch of people in my head. I was like, I want to have that person on. Because I watch your videos, and as long as you start showing other things, like, you do collect other stuff, right? So that's why I asked you, and you're like, I really don't have much stuff. And even on the day you're on, you're like, I don't really have my stuff. And you're like, I pretty much showed everything today. I don't need to be back on. And then the other day I watched you on G-Spot's show. You were like the person they were interviewing on the Roberts show. And you pulled out all this stuff, and I was like, You didn't tell me you had that, Gary. You had all this really cool stuff.
I never think about that stuff. I'm waiting for the re-invite. No.
You'll be on
Right.
that.
And some of that stuff is like that Coney and Raw was new. I would like to take 1 second though and give a shout out to Legion of Comics. Guys, he has his 1K subscriber video up. Please go over to Legion of Comics and check out that video. He's got a lot of great prizes and a lot of great guests on there. So please go give him a check out and see what you need to do to become Legion with Mark. We are #WeAreLegion. So please go check him out. And again, I want to reiterate while we're talking about 1K subs that Simon is on the road to 1K himself, and we are trying to get him there in the next 10 days. So any of you out there who have a channel, he would appreciate the shout out. And let's try to get SimpleSimon up to 1K.
I've gained maybe I think 2 or 3 from this stream. So yeah, appreciate it. I appreciate it.
And hopefully in the rewind you'll get more because for some reason this show does pretty good on the rewind too.
That's good.
It is a fun show, and I didn't even think about that because the comic book G-Spot, that was a fun show that I did, and I really enjoyed it. And you do have a rightful bone, but all that stuff, I don't know. When you asked me, I all of a sudden, you don't understand, dude. I was like panicked. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go on this show. I'm gonna bomb. I don't know what to show. I don't have stuff that's cool, and I'm like. SimpleSimon reached out and I was like, first of all, I couldn't believe he asked me. I was like, oh my gosh, SimpleSimon asked me on his channel, and I was like all nerded out about it. And then I'm like, and then I found out I was going to be on with Roger, who's got some of the coolest shit in the world because Roger's been collecting forever. And then I was really intimidated. I'm like, I got nothing to show with these guys. I got nothing.
No,
but it was a great time. I had so much fun on the show.
Yeah, it's definitely something I really want to get, obviously, more regular with. Anytime I get a sort of weekend off, I'm definitely going to try to keep moving that forward. And again, I always want to get people because I like everything, all my stuff. My collection's mediocre at best, so I've already shown all my stuff in the first 6 or 7 episodes. So yeah, I'm happy just hosting it and seeing everyone else's stuff.
Now, and you guys over there too, I see that you have a lot of toy and comic fairs. Is that something that's pretty common around where you live? Because I wish we had that around here, but it's hard to go find any place that sells that stuff secondhand where you can get good deals.
Yeah, so comic fairs and stuff that happen every now and then. It's hard to go to because they're normally on the weekend, and it's kind of like a 50-50 chance if I'm going to have that day off or not. So, there's a comic and toy fair coming up this weekend. I actually swapped my shift so I could go, and so I can make it go. But yeah, look, I guess as long as you know the right places to find out when they're going to happen. So like this one here, I know the guy who's running it, so I was able to find out through that. But yeah, look, they happen enough, but I don't really get as much. I don't get to go to them as much as I'd like to. But I've seen the fairs that you guys get there. When you guys have it, you guys do it. Like I watch a lot of videos where people go to little comic fairs, and I'm like, whoa. Like the comic books that you guys get, the selection you guys have is so much better than what we get here. It's hard.
I hear that a lot from Thorson too. That and a lot of the stuff we can get cheaper here than what you guys can find it. And because Thorson's always saying that, I can get a book here that's $1, but over there for you guys, you can't even find it, even if you're hunting on your online shops there and stuff. It's just almost impossible to find. Yeah,
so so at the moment I'm buying a lot of books off eBay. I'm getting them sent to Bubs, and he's going to send them to me, and I'm saving $30 per per book on postage. So hopefully that's going to work out. But yeah, you guys will get a book, I can understand why, because the books are harder to find here. Mm-hmm. When you find them, the price is 3 times as well because you can't get them here. So that wall of books behind Rob, down here, yeah.
That's just a green screen. Those aren't real.
I noticed Nick was selling the first Dr. Afra.
Mm-hmm.
You actually posted, and it was what was it, 500, 550, 500?
550.
That's cheap, man. Compared to the local sellers here selling that for about 1,300 slug.
Australian though.
Yeah, 1,300 Australian. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
but
is
that's still
a lot more than 550.
Yeah, well, there's been a movement to go to a con in Australia. I know Pocan Joe has really been lobbying for it. So maybe we'll just bring suitcases of stuff down there for you guys. So.
My wife
Hey,
just
well-
told me the other day that when she retires that we're taking a month off to go to Australia.
Well, you know how you guys did that big video at C2E2?
Right.
I love watching those videos, but I kind of always get jealous. Like, man, I want to be there hanging out with you guys. So yeah, let's
No,
do it.
and you know what, too? Honestly, and Rob could definitely attest to that everybody who wasn't there was definitely missed. You know, so we hope for that day we can all logistically be together. But yeah, it was great, but it still was something lacking because a lot of you guys weren't there. So except for Gary, I mean, Gary can stay up where he's at.
Yeah, that guy's an ass. Don't even.
Yeah, we only
No
asked
one
him like
likes that
5
video.
times, and he told us no every time.
Look, Simon, you got to learn that you can't be bothered with the minutia sometimes. You just got to keep moving forward.
This is what we got once he got to 1K. Is all of a sudden he's like, "Ooh, I'm a big Gary."
Oh shit! So this is usually the part of the show, Simon, where I like to push a question over to Rob because I really like Rob's question. So I'm gonna hand it over to Rob for his patented question because I'm really curious what your take on this is.
I'm a one-trick pony, but that's okay. I'm gonna get up on stage. So, Simon, Marvel and DC, they've both been watching your channel. They've heard what you've had to say, and they've noticed a lack of lick-worthy characters appearing on your channel. And they each come to you with wheelbarrows full of cash, or even better yet, Bitcoin. And they tell you, we would like for you to pick one of our characters and give you creative control to make that character the lick-worthy character it needs to be. But you can only choose one character from either Marvel or DC because you don't have time to do both. Sarah wants time for her. So, which character are you going to choose to fix, and what direction would you like to go with it?
I don't want to use the easy way out. I don't want to pick an obvious answer because I like Harley stuff, but Harley's just overdone. You don't want to see any more of that. I like newer characters, so I like a character that a lot of people hate. I don't know. I think you might not mind this character, but I like Punchline. I just like Punchline's design, the way she looks, and everything like that. And I think she kind of had that popularity enough that I think one day they might turn her into not a bad guy, maybe. But I don't think that's gonna. I think she's cooler as a villain, but I just feel like she had that popularity for a while. That you know what I mean? It's like in wrestling when a bad guy gets popular, they become the babyface,
anti-hero.
I think is spec popularity, but
yeah, that's true. Because I also thought when the Punchline pop vinyl came out recently, I was like, no one's gonna buy that because only comic book readers are even gonna know who that is. And yeah, there's Punchline pops everywhere on the shelf
because nobody's buying it.
That's right. I bought 2 just in case, and now I realize I didn't need 2.
So you'd like to do something with Punchline?
Yeah. Let's see a lick-worthy Punchline.
Yeah, I could see that. I definitely like to see that character get. I think there's potential, especially since the Joker's so overplayed and what they've and been used so much. The way that they've set her up as potentially like she's like the idea that Joker's, but believes that Joker's lost his way and wants to go back to the pure anarchy type of stuff and not worry about Batman and stuff. I think that there's really potential for her to actually become something greater than some of the other villains that are mainstays in the Bat universe if somebody could just run with it.
And she's definitely sticking around. A lot of people are like, when Tynan's gone, they're just going to cut all his characters. And nah, I'm pretty sure Punchline's going to stick around.
Hopefully.
Right. And I firmly believe that Marvel and DC aren't creating new characters without designs of having them in media at some point. So Miracle Molly, Punchline, you're going to see them pop up in cartoons. You're going to see them probably pop up on HBO Max shows. Or you're going to see these characters at some point.
Maybe. I think some of it's throwing stuff against the wall to see what sticks, trying to appeal to different audiences and whatnot. But
hey, Manny, what's up? I really like the Clown Hunter character as well. I just think
yes, he's gotten a lot of attention because he appeals to a whole segment that hasn't seen somebody that looks like him be a hero or even an anti-hero or whatever and stuff. And with him going off with Ghost Killer to see what, or Ghost Maker, and see what he becomes after a little hiatus way, could be quite interesting.
So what's your favorite character that's been created in like the last 2 years with all the companies?
Again, look, I know people think I'm a DC guy, which I kind of am, but in reality, I'm more just the Batman guy. Like, I like the Batman world. I like the Batman universe and all the characters that come from it. You know, like, I tried to read a lot of the other DC stuff. Like, I'm not a fan of the Green Lantern, but again, I've only read one thing. Like, that first impression has to really count with me to get to a character. So, yeah, it's got to be from that Batman world. Like I said, I really liked Punchline as a character, and I really like the Clown Hunter as well. So yeah, I guess probably the Tynan stuff that he was. I think he definitely overdid it with bringing it. Like, I can't say I'm huge on Ghostmaker. Miracle Molly's okay, but definitely Punchline Clown Hunter was really
the Broker or whatever.
Oh yeah,
the Gardener.
And man, that new Batman movie trailer is so good. It's
man,
good.
For sure. I
was excited as soon as they cast Robert Pattinson because everyone was like, "Oh no, not the Twilight guy." And like they never saw anything else he acted in. He is a great actor.
I've never seen anything he's acted in. Only trailers.
There's a movie called The Fall that was good too. But yeah, the new Batman trailer, that thing just looks amazing.
The only thing is, like, the third trailer, I watched it and I was like, oh my God, that was so good. But it showed so much of it. So if you don't like too many spoilers, it shows a lot in that third trailer.
I busted up earlier. I just want to share this. I was laughing back earlier. After we were talking about music, I started laughing at one point. It wasn't about what was going on the show. I happened to come across, I was going across stuff, and so I was looking at Living It Up. And I happened to notice the tagline on I don't know who the Luke Worst is that posted this, but
he's the guitarist.
But it was a long ago post. So it's steering you to the MySpace / the worst page.
Yes.
I was like, oh, MySpace, yes.
We got on MySpace so early that we were actually able to get the myspace.com / the worst.
Correct.
Nothing else, just the word. We were that early onto MySpace. So by the time Facebook came around, we had to be the worst Melbourne.
But I'm on a side note, though. What we've been doing is I've listened to several of the tracks. Good stuff, man. I really dig it. Listen to more. I might be sending you some money to have you mail me one of those CDs.
Oh man, it's on the house, mate. I'm done.
Well, shipping is. I'm talking about shipping here. Shipping is shipping. That ain't cheap sometimes.
I'll start AOKing my albums to everyone. The only thing is, I also understand obviously the type of punk we are. We're not your skater pop punk sort of stuff. It's not for. It's a very niche. Part of the sub, I guess, genre of the punk category. Well,
again, having been in radio and stuff, obviously I spent a lot of time in college radio. And God, what does college radio people play? They play a lot of freaking punk. So I've listened to, everything post-punk goth rock to freaking, New York punk to freaking the whole ska punk to freaking whatever else. And we definitely listen to the gamut of it. And I dig it. It's very good stuff, man. Thank you for.
No, but I think that's the thing about the comic book community as a whole is like no matter what you're doing, and if we like it or not, we're going to support you and just think it's awesome that you're out there pursuing something that you love. So,
yeah, definitely, man.
And now, too, before we get to the wrap up here, Simon, I wanted to talk about you and your involvement in the community. You're a part of a lot of different sections of this community. You mix with everyone. You're a very very congenial guy, very easy to talk to, get along with. But since you've been on YouTube? What has the community meant to you? And you also do like a lot of shout outs and promotions. So I just want you to talk a moment about you and your experience with the community.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, without the community, you know, I'd still be looking at that, you know, in the couple of hundred subs maybe if I'm lucky. So definitely once I sort of discovered the community, my channel found, I guess, a place to be, I guess. So yeah, it means a lot to me. And obviously, as far as like doing things like the shout outs, like I always love that sort of community because there's the support, you know, like you, like what you do. So Metarog was kind of like the first person I saw that kind of had that.
He's the grandfather of it.
Yeah, so I kind of I was always behind it. So back then it was very easy. So back then, if you're in a live chat, you could just click on you could just right click on someone in the chat and go to their channel and subscribe. But now you kind of got to put in effort. So it seems like it's too hard for some people now. But I'm always, if you make a video and you're like, hey, subscribe to these channels, I'm always going to click those links and, you know, do it all, because I guess I'm part of that group that believes in that idea. Because even if I subscribe to a channel, like, look, I've subscribed to so many channels, and there are definitely some that I haven't even gotten around to watching. I always try to do the rounds though and try to see something at least. But there's definitely plenty of channels that I just, because, like, for example, if I watch a video from you, Gary, and I've just subbed up 6 new channels, it's hard for me to then just sit there and watch every single one. If I watch a video, if I've just, like, someone's mentioned the channel, like one channel, like, and I click on it, I'll check out that channel, you know what I'm saying? But I guess the thing I think that people need to get is you subscribe to the channel. Even if you don't watch it, it's there. It's going to come up in your subscription feed, and it's going to give you the chance that if they one day release a video that is to your interest, you're going to check it out. You know, so that's where a lot of the times with a channel I haven't watched before, if I see something, I'm like, oh, I haven't watched that channel and I'm interested in what that is. Let's watch that. So, and just seeing guys like you and Metarog do the whole community thing, and Grey Man as well. The Grey Man used to always do a little song and shout out, or a smaller channel. I always wanted to have something like that, so I was able to find it through my weekly hauls. So I'm happy. But yeah, the community is amazing. I never thought, you know, when I started the YouTube channel, I never thought I'd make all these friends around the world. They'll do me, you know, like favors, and, you know, can I get this book sent to you? Send it to me. It's crazy.
I don't think any of us ever thought that would happen, you know. I think most of us just got in it because, something I like, something to do. We all got in it for different reasons. But I think the whole community aspect pretty much surprised everybody that's in it, especially this collecting community. I don't just want to keep it to comics, because it seems like the card community is like that a lot too. The coin community is like that a lot, it seems. And but it's very, very supportive. So it's a real easy community to get into and to make friends in. And, you know, and Jimmy says it all the time. You know, you got to get in. You know, you get your group of usual suspects, and then you have your subgroups that you branch out and you make friends from there. But
birds of a feather flock together.
Right. Ignacio keeps wanting you to lick something, Simon. There you go.
There you go. Had it on standby.
There you go. See, it wouldn't have been an interview without you, without something getting licked. So, we've been going for an hour and 10 minutes. We're going to start our wrap up. So how we do this, Simon, is we're going to start with the goodbyes and what's coming up on each person's channel. We'll start at the top with Rob. Once we get to the end, we'll sing ourselves out awkwardly. But first, Rob, what have you got coming up, sir?
Well, I've still got 2 mystery boxes going. If anyone is interested in the Fat Stax mystery boxes, talk to me later. I'll give details elsewhere, not do it here. Saturday, we have Slab Hub. This week on Slab Hub, we'll return back to comics as Austin LeMay is our featured guest. So Austin LeMay on Slab Hub. Then, of course, on Monday is Mail Call, and I got enough mail here stacked up that it's going to be split over the 2 mail calls probably, and let's just say there's going to be a lot of sci-fi, a lot of sci-fi stuff to unbox. So
nice,
including.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rob.
I'm sorry, including one of my personal grails will be arriving.
See, now you got us all interested. I mean,
Yeah.
I was already interested in your sci-fi covers because those are some of my favorites. But now I'm even doubly interested. So, Nick, what's with this new show you got coming up, sir?
That's a little bit further in the week, Gary. I got other stuff going on. That's going to be the highlight. It's going to be a busy week for me. Monday, I will be on Comic Gories with John's Comics with Kids. Looking forward to that. I'm feeling a little bit nervous about that.
Have you been on?
I've never been on. My first time.
Awesome.
So in preparation for that, I have every single long box I own in the living room next door. So hopefully I can do a good job there. Thursday, I'm super psyched about it because on Thursdays there's been a hole. There's been a hole on Thursdays, and only two guys can fill it. Me and Ignacio, Nacho. We'll be discussing a whole bunch of geek stuff on Thursdays that it's going to be a lot of fun to me. I love when Ignacio's around. He's a great guy to be around, and hoping to get some good stuff out into the community. So that's about it.
Nice. And here we go. Ignacio's picking on you. And on my channel, of course, we have Savage Saturday Comic Review coming up. And while we were doing this, I won another raffle and another box from Yami and I Got Comics. So that's 2 out of 3, $12 in, 2 great boxes. So I'll take it. And next week on In the Hot Seat with the Usual Suspects, we are going to have Nick the Comic Nerd on. Okay. So that'll be a fun show.
Never
and
enough.
Then next month, we got pretty much the Link Squad month. We're going to have DJ Links, Remy Q, Actual Dracula, Roscoe, and then starting out in March, we got coming up, we're going to have on the 10th, we are going to have Digger Jim. And because I'm old, I forgot who I have on the 3rd.
Others. You're talking out over a month out, buddy.
Yeah. And Southpaw. Well, I just want to give people something to look at. And Southpaw Brad. So we got a lot coming up, and just fun content, hopefully. And I hope everyone's just enjoying themselves and with everything that all of us are offering. And we love sharing it. But before I end, Simon, I wanted to thank you for coming on. I know it's tough with the scheduling with you guys, and I super appreciate you taking the time. I've been really looking forward to talking to you, and it was an absolute pleasure, sir. Thank you so much.
Always is.
Yeah, man. I actually applied for the day off work to do this today. So,
thank you.
I was like, I've got a big YouTube interview on, so I can't work.
There you go.
I don't know if you know, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Rob deserves people to take a day off for him, and Nick. I'm the scum at the bottom trying to eke my way up. But so Simon, what have you got coming up on your channel, sir? And
so tonight I'm going to drop a video. So when you guys wake up in the morning, I'll have a new Nerds Day Out. So Nerds Day Out's a vlog series I do with my girlfriend Captain Saro. We went and checked out a Disney exhibition. So if you're not into that, we end it with a Star Wars haul because, spoiler alert, I'm into Star Wars now. Like I'm Star Wars the last 2 weeks. I'm into Star Wars, guys.
Nice.
May the Force be with you. I also did an episode with Mark the other day. It's episode 50 of The Noob. And a long time ago, we did like a rip-off of Comic Gories, but we called it Poor Man's Comic Gories. So we didn't have time limits and stuff. I just picked 10 categories when we came with books. So we did another episode. So we did another one of those the other day, which was really fun. But Mark got to pick all 10 categories. So you get to see, because we never get to see Mark's collection. So it's really fun when we get to do them. Other than that, I also have, I'm going to do, I filmed yesterday my top 10 covers from last year, which is the Bearded and Cole's cover challenge. So yeah, I got a few videos coming up, but I've also got my weekly hauls every week. So check it out.
Brilliant.
nice.
And yeah, thanks. I took the day off because I really didn't want to, I don't get to do these all that often. So I didn't want to miss an opportunity to hang out with you guys. So yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, we appreciate it, sir. It was our pleasure, and you're welcome back anytime on this channel. And
Thanks, I appreciate
I
it.
just want to thank everyone in the chat. Thank you guys for making it a fun night. And we really appreciate you hanging out and supporting Simon. And hopefully, if you weren't subbed to him, you're subbed to him now. And let everyone else know to sub to him. He's on that road to 1K.
The worst.
Right? And
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi.
Yes, and Jerry the Jitterbug is 2 subs away from 1K. So we'll be and he'll be back on the show again at some point. But that's it for tonight, guys. And as we always like to end these things, awkward.